The Last Midnight. This is an extremely small and secluded village, with dark, ominous woods all around it. Leela, a teen who loves adventure, and always resorted to listening to local ghost stories. Mr. Harper, the old mystery man living at the edge of the village. Their past is somehow full of mystery related to some dark episodes. The villagers. They are superstitious and fear-stricken. They dare not venture into the woods, ever. Lila had always developed a great interest in the stories that the elders of the village shared relating to the woods. They spoke of a curse that would befall somebody who crossed the woods after midnight, claiming it would take away the last breath of life left to them. They often declared the woods to be abominable, and the villagers kept an extraordinary distance from that place. However, Lila thought that being brave enough to discover the truth was either invigorating or inspiring. One cold evening, Lila was stirred by the whispering of some womenfolk in the village about Mr. Harper, the old man who was at the far corner of the woods. They spoke in low tones that it is he who holds the curse and saw souls of thousands lost into darkness. Leela would not have anything to do with such a dark warning and looked for Mr. Harper. It had turned dark by the time she made it to his ramshackle house, and there was a shrill howling of the wind, knocking on the door. For what seemed like an eternity, the door groaned open. Mr. Harper stood there, his eyes a life well lived in sorrow. "What do you want, child?" he rasped warily. "I want to know the truth about the curse," said Lila. Mr. Harper sighed and invited her inside. Dim light inside was full of strange artifacts and dusty books. He started telling his story. A long time ago, he had been part of a research group that investigated dark magic so as to yield more energy from the woods. Their greed awakened an ancient evil male creature which started taking the rest one by one, whispering out their last breaths into the night. He told Lila never to step into the woods past midnight, lest that be the time the spirits of lost souls relive, wreaking havoc. Undeterred by the warning, Lila becomes more convinced and determined. That night, she made up her plan. She would go into the woods at midnight to confirm whether the tale was true or false. Only a flashlight and her courage would be her companions as she slipped out of the house, pounding her heart with excitement. The trees towered above her like ancient sentinels, and the air seemed full, stifling, and unnatural. As she gained the interior of the woods, she felt an impolite silence around her, only relieved by the pensive flicker of the flashlight. It was not yet 12 when Lila stumbled into a clearing wherein lay a strange, glowing stone in the center. Power thrummed within the stone. Lila felt an overwhelming urge to move toward it. When she took a step closer, she reached out to touch it. But a cold wind began blowing through the clearing. She couldn't hear what the words were as shadows danced around her whispering mumbo-jumbo. Panic was beginning to well up in her, realizing that she didn't, in fact, stand alone. As the spirits of the lost ones emerged from the darkness with their faces contorted in anguish. "Get out of here!" one of them screamed, its voice racked with despair. Lila took a step back, terror clawing at her. "I didn't mean to disturb you," she screamed. "I only wanted to know the truth." Just in time, Mr. Harper emerged from the trees at the edge of the clearing, his face white as a ghost's. "Lila, you have to go now," he yelled, but it was too late. The spirits surged forward, their eyes blazing with fury. Lila tried running, but the earth under her feet had shifted, so she couldn't get away. Roots and vines wrapped around her legs, tugging her down. She fought hard and felt the cold grip of spirits closing in on her. Then, before being swamped, she recalled the stories about the power of truth. "I'm not afraid of you," she shrieked. "I want to understand." The spirits stop in their tracks, their faces, having lost control, change into curiosity. "There is a price for knowledge," one said. "What do you pay?" In that moment of desperation, Leela made a decision. "I will give you my last midnight," she declared, with this surge of determination in her. The spirits hesitated, and she felt the grip of the roots loosen somewhat. With that, a blinding light leapt from the glowing stone to surround the clearing. The spirits let out cries of pain as the light consumed them. Leela fell to the ground, exhausted, but alive. She could just look up in time to see the spirits disappearing as their anguished faces finally relaxed into peace. The sun was breaking through as Lila stepped out of the woods, changed forever. The entire village was waking up, and the warmth of the sun highlighted the ground. She felt a weight lifted from her shoulders, but she knew that the woods would always keep their secrets for themselves. She entered Mr. Harper's house. He was sitting there, waiting for her. "You survived," he said, relief spreading across his face. "But you paid the price." "I know now," Lila responded. "The last midnight is not only a curse, but a warning. The darkness can be faced, but comes at a price." From then onwards, the change in Lila was seen in the villagers. She is the one telling stories regarding the woods that terrified her. As she never returned to the woods again, the whispers of the spirits had to live within the stories, reminding her of the last midnight and the power of Dottie understanding. Conclusion. Such a story tends to highlight themes for courage and curiosity. More importantly, it presents an auditory understanding of one's own fears. That is well within the suitable limits of a 15-minute or 15-minute narration to go up on your YouTube channel. Feel free to change any details to suit your style and audience.